Ever wish you could just absorb the most crucial info on a topic, without wading through endless reports? Well, consider this your shortcut. Today, we're diving deep into the dynamic world of United States biomedical science, specifically the exciting recent progress and the strategic paths being forged.
Exactly. We've synthesized a really broad range of sources for you, from government documents, NIH initiatives, to FDA updates, academic breakthroughs, and policy analyses. The idea is to distill the essential insights for you.
Yeah, our mission today is pretty straightforward. Extract the most vital knowledge about how the U.S. is accelerating that journey, from scientific discoveries to tangible improvements for our health. And believe me, there are some truly interesting and honestly unexpected developments to unpack here.
Right. And our focus is squarely on translational science. You might have encountered this term before. Essentially, as the NIH defines it, it's about innovating the research process itself, making it quicker, more effective, and ultimately having a much greater impact on people's lives.
Okay, let's clarify a key point right off the bat, though. We're talking translational science, not just translational research. That distinction is important, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Think of translational research as the work on a specific project, like, say, developing a new vaccine. Translational science, on the other hand, is more about improving the whole system, the entire ecosystem that allows that vaccine and really all future breakthroughs to be developed and reach the public faster, more efficiently.
Precisely. It's about those system-wide improvements that benefit all areas of research. Translational science addresses the fundamental principles, both scientific and operational, that underpin the entire biomedical research endeavor. Its main goals are really to dismantle the obstacles that slow progress down.
Okay, like what kind of obstacles?
Well, we're talking about challenges like better predicting if a treatment that works in the lab will actually be safe and effective in humans. That's a big one. Also, the difficulties in connecting different research data systems interoperability, the sheer complexity of analyzing the massive data sets we generate now, and the ongoing need to ensure clinical trials involve a diverse range of participants.
Those are definitely significant roadblocks. And as I understand it, translational science is also about creating solutions that can be applied broadly across different diseases.
Exactly. It's about ensuring research truly reflects the diversity of the population, tackling those persistent differences in health outcomes, health disparities, and fostering really strong collaborations across the entire research spectrum: academia, industry, government.
And what's fascinating, I think, is that potential for solutions in one area to sort of unexpectedly benefit others.
That's a key point. For example, a new strategy for engaging diverse communities in, say, a cancer study could be directly applicable to a study on heart disease. This broad applicability is a real strength.
Right. So for you, the listener, who wants to grasp this complex area efficiently, this deep dive is really designed to provide that clarity. We'll focus on the crucial aspects, those aha moments, without getting too bogged down in, excessive technical detail. Prepare for some surprising insights into how science is moving from the lab to your health.
Okay, so let's begin by examining the fundamental importance of this whole field. Why does it matter so much for public health?
Exactly. Why is this focus on translational science so critical for our collective health? Ultimately, it's about improving health, right?
Yeah.
Extending lives, lessening the burden of illness and disability. The aim, as they say, is more treatments to all people more quickly.
And what's fascinating to consider here is the concept of the valley of death in research. You hear this term a lot. We see so much promising initial work in basic science, yet a significant portion of it just never translates into actual treatments that reach patients.
It's a really sobering statistic, isn't it? Something like over 90% of drugs that show promise in animal studies ultimately fail when they're tested in humans.
Over 90%. Think about that. That's a huge loss of potential, time, resources.
Yeah.
Precisely. And that's where translational science becomes so vital. It directly confronts these inefficiencies by focusing on those long-standing challenges and the common causes of inefficiency and failure that affect the entire research landscape.
That gap, that valley of death, understanding that bottleneck, really underscores just how vital translational science is. So, okay, who are the key players, the key organizations driving this effort forward?
Well, at the governmental level, the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, is absolutely central. And within the NIH, the National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences, or NCTATS, is the primary driving force.
And CTATS Mantelts.
Got it.
Tell us a bit more about what they actually do.
Sure. NCTATS was set up back in 2011 with that core mission we talked about: deliver more treatments to all people more quickly. Now, unlike many other NIH institutes that focus on specific diseases, NCTETS takes a broader view. They look for commonalities across diseases to develop solutions that can benefit many different conditions at once.
Ah, so they're disease-agnostic, in a way.
Pretty much. They focus on creating better predictive models for drug development, ensuring clinical trials involve diverse populations. And collaboration is absolutely key for them. They partner extensively other parts of NIH, government agencies, industry, academia, and importantly, patient groups.
So they're like the central problem solvers, trying to figure out how to make the whole biomedical research enterprise more effective. What kinds of programs do they run?
Their major initiatives cover a wide spectrum. There's clinical innovation, preclinical innovation, which includes really important programs like the Tissue Chip for Drug Screening Initiative. You might have heard of that.
Yeah, the organs on a chip idea.
Exactly. And the Assay Guidance Manual. Plus, they have a focus on rare diseases research innovation. Think of NCS as an enabler, really, providing the tools, resources, methodologies that researchers across all areas can use.
Okay, that makes sense. And what are their strategic priorities looking ahead? What's their plan for the next, say, 5 years or so?
Well, they recently released their strategic plan for 2025 to 2030. The director, Joni Rutter, has emphasized building on their established flagship programs, things like the Clinical and Translational Science Awards, the CTSA program, and the Rare Diseases Clinical Research Network. But a really significant emphasis in their future direction is the critical importance of actively involving patients and communities throughout the entire research process.
That sounds like a shift, not just recruiting people for trials.
No, it goes beyond that. It means establishing genuine partnerships right from the beginning to ensure the research is relevant, that it's impactful for the people it aims to serve.
That makes perfect sense. It's about ensuring research addresses real-world needs and also, I suppose, building public trust in the scientific process.
Absolutely. And that connects directly to the broader movement towards data-driven science.
How so?
Well, NCTES's efforts are very closely aligned with the NIH Strategic Plan for Data Science, also for 2025-2030. That plan outlines 5 key goals: making data findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, the FAIR principles.
We hear FAIR a lot these days.
You do. Also, enhancing the use of human-derived data, advancing AI and software tools for analysis, building a shared data infrastructure like a federated system, and strengthening the community of data scientists.
So improvements in how NIH manages and shares data directly support NCTES's mission in translational science. They feed into each other.
Absolutely. Think about it. If research data is easier to find, access, and use in a consistent way, it helps break down those data silos that have historically just slowed down translational research. NCTED's initiatives, like developing systems to merge different clinical data sets and their support for the CTSA National Center for Data to Health, known as CD2H, those are concrete examples of putting these data science principles into practice.
Okay, so NCTEDS is a central driver, and one of their key mechanisms is this CTSA program. We do hear about this a lot.
Right.
What exactly is the CTSA?
Right, the Clinical and Translational Science Awards program, it's really a foundational element. It's a national consortium about 60 to 63 leading medical research institutions across the country. They've been collaborating since way back in 2006. Their main goal: to transform the research and training environment, basically, to enhance the efficiency and quality of clinical and translational research nationwide.
Wow, over 60 institutions working together. That sounds like a massive undertaking. What kind of impact are they having?
It is a significant national effort. The CTSA program provides essential support, resources, tools, collaborative networks for literally tens of thousands of NIH-funded investigators. Some key parts of the program include CLIC, which is the coordinating center, CD2H, which champions those FAIR data principles we just mentioned, and TIN, the Trial Innovation Network, focused on improving multi-site clinical trials.
What's been happening recently within the CTSA program? Any noteworthy updates or new directions?
Yes, definitely. Several important funding announcements and new initiatives. For instance, the University at Buffalo CTSI just got a substantial funding renewal. They're focusing on health disparities in Western New York, using AI for health literacy, and developing their Cando drug discovery platform.
Interesting.
And the University of Michigan's MICHR got significant funding, too, to actually study the science of translational science itself, how to make the whole process better. They're also big on community engagement with their Patient Partner Academy and very committed to health equity.
So they're studying the process of translation. Meta-research, almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And UHealth Houston's CCTS also received major funding to support their work across Texas, including ongoing COVID-19 research and their long-term study of the Hispanic community down in Cameron County.
So it's not just about providing infrastructure anymore. It sounds like they're actively trying to figure out the best ways to do translational research.
Exactly. The CTSA program is increasingly focused on driving innovation in the methodologies themselves. New approaches for patient recruitment, data integration, things like that. And community engagement and addressing health disparities are absolutely central themes in these recent awards. These CTSA hubs are really being positioned as vital catalysts for improving community health. That requires building trust, really understanding local needs.
That's a significant evolution, moving beyond the lab right into direct community impact. Now, we've also heard about decentralized clinical trials, DCTs. How do they fit into this?
That's a key area of development. NCTS actually put out a request for information on DCTs back in early 2023. The main goal is to explore how conducting trials remotely using digital tech can help reduce health disparities and make it easier for people from underrepresented populations to participate.
Makes sense, removing geographic barriers.
Right. And the CTSA program also supports training the next generation through grants like the T32 NRSA, and a recent update to that funding aligns with these evolving priorities like DCTs and diversity.
So the CTSA network is essentially a nationwide laboratory for developing and sharing best practices to tackle our biggest health challenges. That's quite powerful. Now, let's switch gears slightly to the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. Obviously, a critical player in getting new treatments to patients.
Absolutely crucial. Within the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, or CDER, the Office of Translational Sciences, OTS, plays a key role. Their mission is really to foster innovation and accelerate the development of safe and effective drugs for global human use. They provide critical support to CDR in areas like tech transfer, data analysis, health IT, and overseeing scientific research.
So their role goes beyond just reviewing drug applications. They're involved earlier in the development process.
Precisely. OTS has several specialized offices and divisions focusing on biostatistics, clinical pharmacology, computational science, and so on. Their key activities include fostering scientific collaboration, ensuring the scientific rigor of trials, applying quantitative methods in reviews, aligning CDR's research with agency goals, and overseeing drug quality and testing.
What have been some of their recent areas of focus? What are their current priorities in shaping drug development?
Well, recent discussions highlighted in CDER conversations back in March 2025 offer some good insights. One key initiative is the Quantitative Medicine Center of Excellence, or QMQE.
QMQE.
Yeah, it's within their Office of Clinical Pharmacology. This center is specifically focused on leveraging quantitative and statistical methods to make drug development more efficient and ultimately improve patient care. Think of it as making regulatory decisions more informed by data and mathematical modeling.
Data, again. It
Yep.
seemed to be the thread connecting everything. What else is the FDA prioritizing?
They're also actively working on modernizing their new drugs regulatory program, exploring AI and drug safety monitoring through their EDSTM program, and they've set up a dedicated Center for Clinical Trial Innovation, C3TI, to foster improvements in trial design and conduct.
C3TI, okay.
Plus, they are deeply engaged in understanding and developing best practices for decentralized clinical trials and digital health technologies, recognizing their potential to make research more patient-centric and inclusive.
It really sounds like there's significant alignment between the FDA's priorities and NIH's priorities in these critical areas, like trial innovation, data science.
You're absolutely right. OTS is proactively involved in shaping the R&D landscape, not just evaluating submissions passively. This convergence of priorities focusing on trial innovation, strategic use of data science, tackling R&D bottlenecks between FDA and NCAS-CSCSA suggests a really coordinated federal effort. It means innovations from the NCS network are maybe more likely to find a receptive pathway at the FDA, and FDA guidance can shape research priorities, potentially de-risking and speeding up the whole process.
That makes a lot of sense. A more streamlined, aligned process helps everyone in the end. Now let's talk about the NIH Common Fund. What role does that play?
The Common Fund. It supports exceptionally innovative, high-impact programs that span across multiple NIH institutes. They tackle critical challenges that are high priorities for the entire agency. These are usually longer-term initiatives, maybe 5 to 10 years, and the expectation is that successful outcomes and technologies get integrated into the broader research community.
So they're investing in truly groundbreaking, maybe transformative ideas that might not fit neatly within just one NIH institute's scope. What kind of initiatives are they supporting right now?
Several key initiatives launched between 2023 and 2025 are really noteworthy. One is Complement RI.
Complement RI.
Yeah, it aims to accelerate the development and adoption of human-based new approach methodologies, HAMS. Things like organoids, tissue chips, in silico models, to complement or even replace traditional animal models. This directly supports the goals of the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 we discussed. They're setting up tech development centers, a central data hub, and a validation network.
That sounds like a major push towards more human-relevant preclinical testing. Yeah. What are some other key Common Fund initiatives?
Another exciting one is Primed AI, approved just this year. This focuses on combining clinical imaging data, MRI, CT scans, with other health data like genomics, proteomics, EHRs, what they call multimodal data. The goal is to develop powerful AI tools for more personalized clinical decision-making. They're concentrating on integrating these diverse data types, developing AI algorithms, implementing them clinically, and importantly, building trust in their use. Funding opportunities should start appearing summer 2025.
AI-powered tools for personalized medicine. That's definitely pushing the boundaries. What about some of their shorter-term, maybe more exploratory projects?
Right. The Common Fund also supports venture program initiatives. These are shorter, maybe 3-year projects, exploring really bold ideas. One example is the NBSX-WGS Collaboratory.
NBSX-WGS.
Newborn screening by whole genome sequencing. They're evaluating using whole genome sequencing as a first-line newborn screening test for certain actionable genetic diseases. Community engagement and ethical considerations are huge parts of this project. There's actually a funding opportunity out for this now.
Wow, whole genome sequencing for newborns. That could have profound implications. Any other venture initiatives?
Yes, there's Oculomics, focused on developing non-invasive eye imaging tech and using machine learning to find biomarkers in the eye for systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, even stroke risk, all from an eye exam.
Amazing.
And then there's SysBio, creating a centralized platform and tools to integrate diverse data from various Accelerating Medicines Partnership, or AMP, programs. This allows researchers to look for connections across different tissues and diseases. Initial awards for both Oculomics and SysBio have already been announced.
It really sounds like the Common Fund is making strategic bets on foundational platform technologies with broad translational potential.
Exactly. These programs represent NIH-wide investments in critical underpinnings, improved preclinical models, advanced data analytics, innovative diagnostics. Their strong emphasis on data generation, integration, sharing, standardization, coupled with AML across these initiatives, clearly signals where the field is heading. Ultimately, they aim to provide the whole research community with essential resources and methods to overcome fundamental challenges and pave the way for future translational successes.
Okay, so we looked at the key drivers, NIH, FDA, and their big strategies. Now let's get into the concrete progress. What kind of significant advances and breakthroughs have we seen recently, say, between 2023 and 2025?
Yeah, the past couple of years have been exceptionally productive, especially in terms of new discoveries and approvals of innovative therapies. Oncology, in particular, has seen a lot of advancement.
Tell us more about some key developments in cancer.
Well, 2024 was particularly noteworthy. The FDA approved over 50 new oncology drug indications, and 11 of those were classified as first-in-class.
11 first-in-class. That's significant.
It is. We saw the approval of lifileucel, brand name Amtagvi. That's the first cell therapy derived from a patient's own tumor-infiltrating lymphocytes, or TILs, for metastatic melanoma, a completely new therapeutic approach for solid tumors. There was also a famotidine autoleucel for a rare aggressive sarcoma, another advanced cell therapy.
These sound like major strides in using the immune system to fight cancer. What about other novel mechanisms? Drugs that work differently?
We also saw approvals of drugs that employ entirely new ways of targeting cancer. Imetelstat, first direct inhibitor of telomerase, an enzyme key for cancer cell growth for a type of anemia. Nogapendican alpha invocacept, used with an existing bladder cancer treatment, offers a novel way to boost the immune response. Then there's revumenib, a first-in-class inhibitor for certain leukemias. Tarlatamab, a bispecific antibody fighting small cell lung cancer, historically very tough to treat. And zenocutuzumab targets a specific genetic fusion in some lung and pancreatic cancers.
So a real wave of targeted therapies and immunotherapies hitting the clinic.
Absolutely. We also saw zolbetuximab for advanced gastric cancer, tovorafenib for pediatric low-grade glioma, vorasidenib for certain adult brain tumors, and zanidatamab for biliary tract cancer. What's really exciting is that many are these first-in-class therapies. They're the first to target previously unaddressed biological pathways.
Beyond the approved drugs, what's the focus of ongoing cancer research right now? Where are things heading?
Current research is really pushing boundaries. Scientists are developing KRAS inhibitors targeting broader mutations, more sophisticated antibody-drug conjugates, therapeutic cancer vaccines tailored to individual tumor mutations. Advances in tech like spatial transcriptomics and single-cell sequencing are giving us unprecedented detail about the tumor microenvironment, leading to new biomarkers, new targets.
And that liquid biopsy idea, using blood tests.
Exactly. Using circulating tumor DNA, ctDNA, in blood tests to guide treatment decisions and monitor for recurrence that's becoming increasingly refined and impactful.
It sounds like a truly dynamic and, frankly, hopeful time in cancer research. What about cell and gene therapies more broadly? We hear so much about that, too.
Yeah, the cell and gene therapy, or CGT field, is rapidly hitting major milestones. The Alliance for Regenerative Medicine's 2024 snapshot highlighted some groundbreaking achievements. Most notably, the first-ever approvals for CRISPR-based gene editing therapies. Casgevy for both sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. Huge news.
The CRISPR approvals were massive.
Absolutely. We also saw the first in-human trial of an in vivo CAR gene therapy where the modification happens inside the patient's body. Phase 3 trials started for in vivo CRISPR editing for hereditary angioedema, and the first patient was dosed in a trial for an in vivo mRNA CAR therapy for liver cancer.
In vivo gene editing, that sounds like a major leap forward, potentially simpler.
It is indeed. It could streamline treatment and expand applicability. We're also seeing progress with other advanced techniques like prime editing, epigenetic editing. Clinical trials are underway. And importantly, 2024 also saw approvals for non-oncology gene therapies for conditions like metachromatic leukodystrophy, hemophilia B, AADC deficiency. Plus, very promising results are emerging for gene therapies to restore hearing and treat inherited blindness.
So the field is expanding beyond just blood cancers treated with ex vivo methods, where cells are modified outside the body.
Exactly. The field is strategically moving towards in vivo editing and tackling solid tumors, which have been much harder targets. And this progress is backed by significant federal funding, like the NHLBI's Cure Sickle Cell Initiative and programs within NC8s and NENDs.
We also talked about organoid research earlier. How's that field advancing and contributing?
Organoid research is undergoing significant refinement. In 2024, there was notable progress in developing more robust culture protocols, integrating them with microfluidics and biomaterials to better mimic tissues, and using advanced genomics like CRISPR and single-cell sequencing, often coupled with AI for analysis. We're seeing compelling examples: kidney organoids for studying polycystic kidney disease, bone marrow organoids for blood cancers, iPSC-derived organoids for vascular malformations.
So they're becoming increasingly sophisticated and useful for a broader range of diseases.
Precisely. They provide more physiologically relevant preclinical models for studying human diseases and evaluating how individuals might respond to drugs. A big step for personalized medicine and improving the predictive accuracy of preclinical testing.
What about other critical areas like neurology and neuroscience?
Neurology also saw key advances in 2024. The FDA approved donanemab for Alzheimer's disease and xanomeline trospium, CAR-XT, for schizophrenia.
CAR-XT was significant, right? A new mechanism.
Exactly, the first new mechanism for schizophrenia in decades. Researchers are also making progress finding potential biomarkers in spinal fluid for Alzheimer's treatments. And scientists at Scripps Research identified brain circuits involved in cold-induced eating, potentially leading to new therapies for weight loss or metabolic disorders.
It really seems like progress is happening across a wide spectrum. Any other particularly noteworthy therapeutic advances or journal highlights?
We also saw important FDA approvals for resmetirom for NASH fibrosis, sotatercept for pulmonary arterial hypertension, and givinostat for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Prominent journals like Cell Reports Medicine published impactful research on SARS-CoV-2 immunity, wastewater epidemiology, digital health, gene therapies. And Clinical and Translational Science highlighted highly cited articles on things like RIPK1 inhibitors, low-dose CBD evidence, the BioLink model, NASH treatments, and mechanism reviews for new drugs. The sheer number of first-in-class and first-in-indication therapies getting approved strongly suggests our fundamental understanding of disease biology is leading to truly innovative treatments. It's likely fueled by that synergy of genomics, AI, novel drug types, and better preclinical models.
So not just small steps, but real leaps in understanding and treating disease. Now, you mentioned the crucial role of academic and research institutions. Can you highlight some specific contributions from these key players?
Absolutely. That network of CTSA hubs is a major source of innovation. For example, the University at Buffalo CTSI focuses on health disparities, has developed an impactful drug discovery platform, and is actively integrating AI. University of Michigan's MICHR isn't just doing research, they're advancing the science of translational science itself, improving team collaboration, and meaningfully engaging patients. Youth Health Houston's CTTS has a broad reach across Texas, running large trials and streamlining regulatory processes.
It sounds like these institutions are not only doing vital research, but also actively working to improve the whole research ecosystem.
Exactly. We're also seeing huge contributions from industry partners like Genentech, leading in biomarker strategies for oncology and Alzheimer's. The Broad Institute keeps pushing genomics and gene editing. Scripps Research Translational Institute is making strides in digital medicine and community-engaged research. The UC Systems CTSIs have a great track record. Spinraza for spinal muscular atrophy is a famous example. Institutions like Iowa, UTMB, Utah are contributing uniquely, from rural health tech to overcoming specific research barriers. Even major hospitals like Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Cincinnati Children's are leading in CGT breakthroughs and applying organoid medicine.
It really paints a picture of a diverse, dynamic network of innovation across the country.
Precisely. There's that dual focus. Conduct groundbreaking research and develop the methods for successful translation. And a clear trend is the growing focus on health disparities, ensuring benefits reach everyone equitably. Data science, AI, digital health are powerful enablers everywhere, and the distributed nature of the CTSA network allows for both local relevance and national impact.
So how are funding, policy, and regulatory updates shaping this evolving landscape?
Well, the funding landscape directly reflects these priorities. Continued NIH funding, including crucial support for workforce development like the T32 NRSA grants, is essential. We're also seeing specific pilot funding from CTSA hubs designed to spark innovative projects focusing on AI, health disparities, data integration. NCI also has targeted funding, for instance, in cancer prevention, and awards from groups like ACTS recognize significant contributions. Overall, funding trends emphasize process innovation, tackling systemic challenges, and building the translational science workforce.
And what about the rules and guidelines? How are policy and regulatory changes impacting things?
We've seen some really significant shifts. The FDA Modernization Act 2.0 from late 2022 is landmark. It authorizes using non-animal alternatives, NMs, for IND and BLA submissions, and removes the animal study requirement for biosimilar BLAs, a fundamental shift in preclinical research.
That's a major move away from relying solely on animal models.
It is, and the FDA's follow-up roadmap for reducing animal testing from April 2025 provides a clear, stepwise plan for integrating scientifically validated NMs into the regulatory process.
What's driving that change?
It's driven by recognizing the limitations of animal models in predicting human responses, plus the huge potential of NEMs to be faster, cheaper, and more biologically relevant to humans. Of course, a key challenge is rigorously validating these new approaches. That's central to the FDA roadmap. They emphasize scientifically validated NEMs, and that's where initiatives like NIH's Complement RI are crucial, developing and validating these methods. The FDA is also working on establishing clear frameworks for accepting NN data and training their staff.
So a more efficient, potentially more accurate preclinical approach is on the horizon. What other regulatory adaptations are happening?
The FDA is also actively adapting to other tech advances, AI in drug development, remote data capture, DCTs. The recent and planned guidance documents reflect this. Additionally, FDA's CBER, the Biologics Center, outlined its 2025 guidance agenda. It covers things like non-DEHP blood collection, CGT potency assurance, accelerated approval for rare disease gene therapies, platform tech for gene editing CGTs, post-approval safety efficacy data for CGTs, and alternative microbial testing for biologics. FDA has also recently issued guidance on reducing disease transmission risk for tissues, IRB procedures, AI device software lifecycle, AI in regulatory decisions, studying sex differences, and advanced manufacturing tech designation.
It sounds like a comprehensive effort to modernize the regulatory framework to keep pace with science and tech.
Exactly. It's all aimed at making drug development more efficient, patient-centric, and scientifically robust. It requires ongoing adaptation from everyone involved.
What about policy advocacy groups? What role do they play?
They're essential. They identify critical R&D challenges, propose solutions, and foster dialogue among researchers, industry, policymakers, and patients. Faster Cures, part of the Milken Institute, has priorities for 2024-2025, including accelerating innovation in CGT, advancing global health like pandemic preparedness and AMR, engaging patients, and improving the R&D environment using COVID lessons and promoting inclusive infrastructure.
So they actively work to influence both research direction and policy.
Precisely. Faster Cures has been very active reports, events on disease prevention, drug repurposing. They provide input to FDA, offer recommendations to policymakers. Another important group is CTTI, the Clinical Trials Transformation Initiative that Duke FDA partnership focused on improving clinical trial quality and efficiency. They have ongoing projects to make trials more efficient, flexible, inclusive. In 2024, they released reports on clinicaltrials.gov submissions and trial feasibility. For 2025, they plan releases on patient engagement in design and disease progression modeling. CTTI also launched an AI Emerging Practices Workgroup in 2024 and publishes on AI integration, decentralization, digitalization, and inclusivity in trials.
It's striking how many initiatives emphasize making research more inclusive, patient-centered, and integrated into healthcare.
Absolutely. There's a clear effort to leverage COVID lessons and embrace new tech to make research more accessible and equitable. Faster Cures focus on diverse engagement, CTTI's focus on inclusive design and patient tools. It all highlights this trend. There's also a growing movement to better integrate trials into routine practice, embed research in healthcare systems to make participation easier for more people.
It really sounds like these organizations are instrumental in translating high-level government goals into practical implementation and policy changes, bridging the gap between research, industry, patients, and government.
Let's explore some of the really cutting-edge emerging technologies poised to transform translational science. AI and machine learning are increasingly pivotal, from early discovery to regulatory science. The NIH Data Science Plan, targeted funding from CTSAs and NIH like Primed AI all underscore this. Even places like UBCTSI are actively integrating AI.
It seems AI is becoming indispensable. How is it being applied specifically?
In drug discovery, AML helps identify targets, design compounds, predict protein structures, and significantly accelerate timelines. We're even seeing generative AI designing new molecules from scratch. Now, no AI-designed drug was FDA approved as of early 2025, but several are in trials, some showing remarkably condensed development timelines. There's potential to improve phase 1 success rates, too.
So AI is speeding up the start and maybe making the whole process more efficient. What about in clinical research itself?
In clinical research, AI helps precisely stratify patients for trials, optimize study design, analyze complex data like pathology slides to predict treatment response. CTTI is even exploring AI to predict early trial termination. Plus, AML is being applied to analyze social determinants of health, using real-world data, extracting insights from unstructured notes, modeling social impacts. Broad Institute is using AI to understand protein location.
Sounds like AI has wide applications across discovery and development. How's the FDA approaching this?
The FDA is actively engaging. Their animal testing roadmap includes AI modeling. Their EDSTM program explores AI and pharmacovigilance, and they have planned or issued guidance on AI devices and AI in regulatory decisions.
That's encouraging, a proactive regulatory approach. Any potential challenges or concerns with using more AI?
Absolutely. One big concern is the black box nature of some algorithms. Hard to know why they predict something. Transparency is key, and algorithmic bias is a huge issue if models aren't trained on diverse data, potentially worsening disparities. We absolutely need human oversight, robust data de-identification for privacy, and the development of equitable AI tools that ensure fair outcomes.
So huge promise, but careful consideration of ethics and bias is crucial. Let's turn back to organoid technology. How are these advanced models contributing?
Right, organoids. Those 3D cultures mimicking human tissues, they offer more physiologically relevant models than 2D cultures or animals. In 2024, we saw continued advances, refined protocols, better differentiation, integration with microfluidics biomaterials, combining with CRISPR, single-cell sequencing, often analyzed using AIM.
And what are the key applications advancing translational science?
A wide range. Disease modeling, disease in a dish for PKD, vascular malformations, cancers. Invaluable for drug discovery and development screening for efficacy, toxicity, repurposing drugs. They often predict human-specific toxicities better than animals. Huge potential for personalized medicine, patient-derived organoids testing treatment response, especially in oncology, and potential in regenerative medicine for tissue repair placement.
That personalized medicine potential sounds revolutionary.
It is, and strong support from the FDA Modernization Act 2.0, the FDA roadmap, and NIH investments like NC-TEX tissue chip and common funds complement RI underscore its importance. But there are still hurdles: standardization, reproducibility, sometimes called the fingerprint effect, vascularizing complex models, scaling up for high-throughput screening, clear regulatory pathways, and acceptance criteria. Initiatives like Complement RI are working hard on standardization and validation.
So while organoids and NAMs hold tremendous promise, continued effort in standards, validation, and regulatory science is essential for success. Now let's discuss the crucial role of big data, real-world data, and data science.
Effective data handling is absolutely fundamental. The NIH Strategic Plan for Data Science 2025-2030 provides the framework. Fair data, enhancing human data use, advancing AI computational methods, federated infrastructure, strengthening the data science community. We see NTS-CTSA promoting data initiatives. CD2H champions fair data, projects merge data sets. The 2025 ACTS meeting theme is integrating data to power translation, and the Common Fund SysBio initiative integrates AMP data.
And that increasing availability of real-world data, RWD, that's playing a big role too, isn't it?
Yes. RWD from EHRs, registries, claims, wearables offers huge potential. Insights into real-world treatment performance, maybe reducing research time cost, including more diverse populations. Platforms are emerging to link different RWD sources. RWD's utility is amplified when combined with social determinants of health data, giving a holistic view. Identifying care gaps, stratifying risk, diverse trial recruitment, supporting value-based care. But realizing this potential needs ongoing investment, robust infrastructure, advanced analytics, AML, fair standards, governance, privacy techniques, and a data-literate workforce. Critical challenges remain: data fragmentation, interoperability, quality, privacy.
So effectively tackling these data challenges is crucial to unlock big data's potential in translational science. Now let's shift focus to a critically important aspect: health equity and the role of social determinants of health, SDOH.
There's a growing essential recognition that biomedical advances alone aren't enough for equitable health outcomes. SDOH, those non-medical factors like socioeconomic status, education, neighborhood, play a profound role. National frameworks like Healthy People 2030, policy drivers like Joint Commission's CMS requirements for SDOH data collection, the White House SDOH playbook, they're all driving attention here.
Yeah.
And the Journal of Clinical and Translational Science had a thematic issue on SDOH integration in April 2025.
So a real effort to look beyond biology to the broader context of people's lives and health. What specific initiatives are integrating SDOH into research?
Several key efforts: developing SDOH data infrastructure like Texas CTSA collaborations, standardizing SDOH data in EHRs, geo-enriching EHR data, data platforms and tools are emerging. The Socium Data Commons, geospatial data, rothealthdata.org public data sets, the Health Equity Explorer, open source RWD tool. Advanced analytics are being used, AI-NLP to extract SDOH from unstructured notes, housing incarceration, standardized terminologies for SDOH screening like the ACORN survey, improved data capture. And integrating RWD with SDOH data provides that complete patient health context, identifying care gaps, stratifying risk, personalizing care, assessing value-based outcomes.
Sounds like SDOH integration is moving from discussion to real implementation, driven by policy, tech, and research.
Precisely. It's a move towards a holistic understanding beyond biology, though it does raise important ethical points: privacy, bias, stigmatization.
A key part of health equity is ensuring clinical research benefits everyone. What initiatives are improving diversity and inclusion in trials?
Ensuring research benefits all populations and reduces disparities is a core tenet. Improving trial diversity is critical. Historically, many trials lacked representative participation, limiting generalizability. Intex CTSA have made enhancing diversity a high priority, developing best practices for recruitment retention. That NCAT's RFI on DCTs was partly about diversity. We see successes at CTSA hubs increasing underrepresented participation, and funding opportunities prioritize inclusion. The FDA strongly advocates for diversity too, including guidance on sex differences. And addressing SDOH is crucial for trial diversity. Social economic factors impact participation, income, transport, trust. We see SDOH-informed strategies, UB-CTSI partnering with community health workers, DCTs mitigating transport barriers.
Sounds like improving trial diversity is both an ethical imperative and a scientific necessity.
Absolutely. It's a primary goal driven by science, ethics, and regulation. It requires a shift towards community-engaged, decentralized, culturally sensitive, SDOH-aware models, ultimately leading to more trustworthy, widely applicable advancements.
Looking forward then, What are the biggest challenges still needing attention in the translational pipeline? And what are the most exciting opportunities on the horizon?
We still face significant challenges: preclinical model validity, data challenges, integration analysis, trial inefficiencies, methodological gaps in translational science itself, and that persistent valley of death. These are often interconnected, needing a multifaceted, systems-level approach. Integrating scientific innovation like NAYAMs, operational improvements like streamlined trials and data sharing, supportive policy like FDA Modernization Act 2.0, and strategic resource allocation. But the future holds really exciting opportunities: pervasive AML integration, maturation of NEMs, maybe even organoid intelligence, advances in CGT solid tumors, in vivo editing, allogeneic therapies, hyper-personalized medicine via multimodal data, democratization, decentralization of research via DCTs, digital health, community infrastructure, a deepened focus on health equity SDOH, enhanced rapid response capabilities, evolution of foundational sciences like statistics, and continued innovation in specific areas like oncology.
It sounds like the future is characterized by increasing convergence and integration.
Exactly. It promises to be more predictive, personalized, patient-centered, and equitable, but realizing it requires new collaboration models, workforce training, adaptable infrastructure, collaboration academia, industry, government, providers, patients, team science bringing diverse expertise together, and meaningful community engagement throughout the research lifecycle. These aren't optional extras, they're core operational principles for future success.
So the U.S. translational science landscape is clearly dynamic, moving forward with significant investments and really exciting breakthroughs, all aimed at accelerating health improvements. We've covered a huge amount of ground in this deep dive, looking at how government initiatives, academic progress, tech advancements, and that critical focus on health equity are all interconnected.
Indeed. And it prompts maybe a final thought for you, our listener. With this increasing emphasis on decentralized clinical trials and community engagement, what role do you envision individuals playing in actively shaping the future of medical research within their own communities?
A fascinating question to consider as we wrap up. The field of translational science is constantly evolving, and its potential to profoundly impact our health and well-being is truly immense. We encourage you to keep exploring these important topics and maybe reflect on where specific areas resonated most with your personal interests or professional pursuits. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.